Social identity and family socialization. Earlier, when I was talking about social identity, I mentioned a number of subcultures which influence us. However, the strongest subculture affecting us is our family. As quickly as possible, I want to look at Wurzel's categories of 8 major assumptions our family passes on to us. First is how we view family structure itself. The scale or continuum ranges from strictly nuclear to very extended. So how inclusive or exclusive are your terms for aunt or uncle or brother or sister? If you call lots of people aunt, then you are more towards the extended side. If you call, use only aunt for blood relatives, then you are part of the nuclear side. Next is family orientation. Does everyone in your family get a democratic vote, or does decision-making depend upon the father or mother? Another assumption passed to us by our family is that of role orientation. This ranges from open to fixed. For example, a culture that will not allow men into the kitchen has a very fixed view of gender roles. Or if a culture says that only men of a certain age should attend town or tribal meetings, then that is a fixed view of age roles. The next one is activity orientation. This refers to who the activity is centered around. If your schedule is controlled by your children's piano schedule, soccer schedule, and taekwondo schedule, then you are pretty child-centered. In my opinion, I believe this has changed a lot in the U.S. When I was a kid, we always had to wait at the back of the buffet line until all the adults had gone through. If I got tired of waiting for 15 adults to wander through the line and tried to sneak in, I would get scolded. However, by the time my nieces and nephews came along, they were at the front of the line, and the adults had to wait until the parents had gotten the children settled with food. It's really unusual for changes like this to happen in just one generation, but it did. Another assumption is that of how much control an adult should have over children. Some families tend to indulge their children, while others are strict disciplinarians. Within this is a range of trying to reason with the child and explain to them why what they did was wrong, or simply yelling at them or spanking them for bad behavior. Also, does your family use mostly positive or negative reinforcement? I'm trying to train a new dog right now, and he does not respond to negative reinforcement because he had been abused by his previous owner. So everything he does is good dog. Oh, what a good dog for eating your food. Oh, what a good dog for going to the bathroom outside. Actually, he loves hearing praise so much that I do not even have to use treats to teach him to come or sit or stay. What personality orientation did your family socialize you with? Were you taught to be more independent and make decisions on your own? Did you hear the words "you can do it" as encouragement? Or were the words "you can do it" considered punishment? Were you encouraged to be dependent upon others? In the U.S., we believe that the job of parents is to teach our children to be independent, which is why many parents today are having identity crises, since so many children are still living at home due to the economy. Generally speaking, after you graduate from college, you should find your own place to live in the U.S. On the other hand, I read an article once that said Japanese believe that our natural tendency is to be independent. Therefore, the job of parents is to teach dependency. Part of this was to ensure that elders will be taken care of by their children and not put into nursing homes or retirement centers. Another assumption we get from our family is relational orientation. Are we more competitive or cooperative? My family is deeply loyal to each other. We love each other, and we're so loyal, maybe more so than the average family in the U.S. Nevertheless, we are so competitive that we have had to stop playing games together at family gatherings because it causes huge fights. The last assumption we will look at is cognitive orientation. This ranges from analytical to global. The analytical mind looks at the pieces and creates a whole. 1 + 1 = 2. The global mind wants to see the big picture and then breaks it into parts. 2 is the result of adding 1 and 1. Also, within this area is the idea of field independence and field sensitivity. The field independent person tends to be the kind that can take little pieces and create a whole, while the field sensitive person tends to need to know what the end result will be before they can start putting the pieces together. Field independent people like working independently, making their own decisions, and being allowed to be creative. They also respond well to chaos because they can either ignore it or pull out the pieces that make sense from the chaos. Field sensitive people like to work in groups, have someone tell them the right answers, like to be given the detailed instructions, and they absolutely hate chaos. Okay? So these are just these are quite a few of the assumptions that our family passes on to us. And consider these as you watch the children's videos next.